What if I told you my comfort show is Degrassi? Something about being down in the dumps and looking at these teenagers make poor decisions is enough to really lift your spirits and be glad that you never went to that school, because why was it not shut down? Hi, I'm Chelsea. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something that I don't really talk about, because I have this thing where if I have a bad experience with something, I put it in a box and put it in the farthest place in my mind, and that's color guard. In high school, because I did not make the cheerleading squad, I tried out for color guard and I made the team. And I'm not talking about color guard like the people that hold the flags in ROTC. I'm talking about the flag girls, which are apparently called the color guard. I didn't know that until I tried out. And I knew it was going to be work. I knew it was going to be a challenge, but hey, I was like, you know what? I think I could spin that flag. How hard could it be? Well, it all started in band camp. Yes, we did go to band camp in the summer at the school. Color guard turned out to be this beast that I didn't know existed. And I always say color guard should have its own reality show. It is intense. Now, color guard is something that you do during the football season, right? Like, you're the flag girls on the field with the marching band. Maybe people watch the show, maybe people don't. Maybe people are going to get snacks while you perform. It's not like all eyes are on you or that you are the main event of the show. You're really just a little fun performance so the football team can have a break. Color guard is hard and within itself, right? You're out on this field. You're having to memorize spots on the field, and they're not obvious spots. They're spots where it's like you count with your footsteps. You mark your place, and you better hope you hit that mark during the show. Luckily, you do the same show every week, at least that's what we did, because what I didn't know is that the halftime show is really just a practice. The real deal is the competitions that are on the weekends, the marching band competitions. And it's where you go out on a football field and there's really nobody in the stands and it's really quiet and you're performing the show and you're really having to do your best work because you're getting judged. And this is for, of course, an award, a trophy. So that was a thing. And you're outside, it's hot. There's different elements that go into color guard, like wind, the sun being in your eyes, rain. There's different equipment, like of course there's a flag. There's also something called a swing flag, which is lighter than a regular flag, but it definitely packs a punch. It's light, but you definitely feel the burn. And then you have rifle. Rifle looks small. It's small. It's a rifle. I'll put a picture up. It's usually white. And you think, oh, if I can throw a flag, I can throw a rifle. You're wrong. It's different. Okay. And then there's saber. We didn't do saber the 2 years I was doing it. And thank God, because rifle was hard enough. So first year I was only doing flag and I was happy doing that. I was really good at it. I knew how to whip that thing. Once I started learning how to do tosses, I felt like I was unstoppable and I could really do something. Not to mention me moving around and dancing on that field. And our show, I think, was like 3 different acts. And it was a fun time. I can't lie. It was fun doing marching band. It was hard work. You're hot. And then it gets cold in the fall, but it was fun. But then there's something after marching band season that I didn't know about. I thought, okay, marching band, the football team is done. Hit the playoffs. All our competition are done. We're Gucci. We can just practice and get better for next year. Wrong. There is something called winter guard. What is winter guard, you ask? It is the most intense color guard competition that you will ever meet, because while marching band season is mostly about the marching band and us being like a visual to the music that they're playing, winter guard is all about us. So it's a lot more intense. And what it entails is you have a mat. It's this big, giant tarp mat. It's not as big as a football field, but it's big. It's probably the size of half of a gym and half of a basketball court, I should say. and you have to roll it out every practice, and it's heavy and it takes teamwork to get it rolled out, and you cannot have shoes on that mat, because if you do, you're gonna ruin the paint job because there's art on that mat. And you have to, much like marching band, you do have to mark spots on there, but it's a little bit more, they really focus on your dance and your equipment, techniques, your skills. Color guard has a lot of ballet elements in it. It's ballet with equipment, I like to say. So they're not just looking at a band with a color guard, they're looking at you as a group, and you gotta be on it. And the competitions are always on Saturdays. It's kind of like an all-day thing. And there were times where we had to perform the show twice in one day. Luckily, it's the same show, but it's like, once you complete the choreography of that show, then you have to go back and enhance it so that every time you go to competition, it's getting better so you can have a higher score. That's how I remember it. And that first year, we were doing so well. We had been doing way better than winter guards of the past, that they decided we were good enough and we qualified for going to the World Championships. How did I get myself in this? We went, it was in Ohio. It was in Dayton, Ohio, which like there's nothing there. And we ended up getting 7th place out of the whole world in our division, which I hold that dear to my heart. Like, we really worked hard for that. We really gave it our all. We were such a great team, and life was great. My phone ran out of storage, so Satan is busy. Anyways, they forced me to try out to be a leader. And the number one problem I had with that is I was not leader material. The most I could lead is by example. Otherwise, it was just me yelling "shut up" to people talking while we were trying to practice. That was the extent of my leadership. So I didn't really want to be in that position. And plus, once you complete your first year, they start expecting more of you. They wanted me to do the rifle. Rifle is hard. It is not as easy as it looks. It's lighter, it's more compact than a flag, but it's harder. It's harder because it's lighter, if that makes sense. I can't tell you how many times I would try to toss that rifle in the air and it would just come crashing down and bounce away. That's still another thing about the rifle. It bounces away. I had a lot of bruises. So my choreographer was tough, okay? We had a teacher, like a director, and then we had a choreographer. He was tough. He was kind of mean, and he really pushed us. I'm a sensitive girly, so I was scared of him. And I remember, in order to make sure I did not drop that damn rifle, I would be outside in my backyard practicing. Even in the rain, I was practicing because I did not want to look like a fool on that field tossing that rifle. And the thing about rifle is, when it's going in the air, you have to chunk it at different strengths to control the rotations in the air. There's like a single, a double, a triple, a quad, it goes up from there. I think the most I did was a 5, whatever that is. I don't even know. But that means in tossing in the air, I have to count 5 rotations and then have it back in my hands. And it has to be straight and it has to be crisp. That's hard work. That's a lot of muscle. That's a lot of this. And I would practice outside of practice. I would get to practice early so I could practice because I did not want to get yelled at. Eventually I got it. I got it for the most part. I was able to hold my own and I was able to toss that 5 in the air. And I survived. The other thing that really got me was a move with a flag, which really hurt my heart because I was good at flag. And it was a toss I had to do in the air. And while it was in the air, I had to do 1 rotation and come back to the front and catch it. But something happened towards the end of that season to where the flag, it was a freak accident. The flag came down and hit my eye. I was bleeding. First of all, when I started bleeding, my teacher was like, "You didn't get any blood on the floor, did you? Like the floor that we had to paint?" I was like, "Bruh, I'm hurt. I could have a concussion. You worried about the floor." And after that, I was kind of spooked. I couldn't do it anymore. And I remember getting a competition because it was the day before a competition. I remember getting a competition day. And the way competition day works for Winter Guard is You go to one room and you are strictly practicing dance. You cannot touch your equipment. If you touch your equipment, you're out of there. You're only doing the dance moves of your routine, the things that you need to work on and sharpen before you go out on that stage. It's like 20, 30 minutes. Then they move you to another room where you're strictly practicing the equipment. When I got to that room and tried to do that rotation, it fell. And I was crying. My mom was there. She was a color guard mom. I was crying. I was like, oh my God, we're about to go on this competition. I can't do this. I can't do this. She was like, just calm down. It's not that serious. It was so dramatic. And I still am. But I just think back at that moment, I'm like, wow, I'm so dramatic. Anyways, I get out on the floor. That move comes up and I chicken out. I don't do the rotation. I just toss the flag in the air. And that was that. But anyways, I say all that to say, throughout that whole season, it was rough. I was a leader. I didn't want to be the team. We had new girls on there. And it wasn't the same vibe. People did not want to work as hard as we did last year. Cool. So that kind of made for bad attitudes. And it just made for not a fun experience. And C, it just took up a lot of my time. And it stressed me out. And I really hated it. I almost quit right before Winter Guard. But the choreographer and the teacher convinced me to stay as a leader. And I was like, why am I such a people pleaser? Anyways, I did the season. I remember counting down. This is how many competitions I have left until I'm done. I don't have to touch a flag no more. I don't have to touch it. And then the end came and I was like, I'm free. And you know what? I kept my practice flag. I was supposed to return it, but I kept it. And I still have it. In fact, there was a point where I wanted to get rid of it. But my husband was like, no, keep it. Like, that's a part of you. And I'm like, no, I hate that. I hate color guard. I hated it. It was such a bad... Like, I told you, if I have a bad experience, I'm putting it in a little box and it's going to the back of my mind. But today, I actually, remembered color guard because a lot of the moves are still ingrained in me. So if I have, a pole or a broom or something, I'm kind of doing the moves. And I was like, wait a minute. Do I still have my flag? And I did. And I was happy. And so I'm saying all this to say, first of all, there's a secret world of color guard that y'all need to tap into, and it needs to be a reality show. And second of all, what color guard and winter guard taught me is spirit of competition. I am not a competitive person unless I know I'm good at it. And back then, I was not willing to put in the work to compete because I didn't want to compete. I just wanted a little fun extracurricular to do that was creative and close to dance. And I got it, but they were trying to make it all serious with the competitions. But sometimes, there's a time and a place. You can enjoy the fun of it as well as work hard. And I worked hard. I worked my butt off to do what I did. Was I the best? No. But did I work hard? Yes. And was I pushed? Yes. And after everything settled and I was done with color guard and winter guard, maybe a year after I graduated high school, because I did this my junior and senior year, I thought back on it and I reflected and I thought, you know what? I didn't hate color guard. I just hated the experience I had. And if I had to do it again, I would do it again, but maybe with a different attitude. We can't control other people. I can't control other people's attitudes. I have bad attitudes sometimes too. I can control that, but I can't control other people. And so I think if I could, I would join another winter guard or a color guard because it was fun. I mean, at the end of the day, once you perform, it's fun. The juices are flowing. Everybody's excited, especially if it went super well. It's amazing. So that was my time on color guard and winter guard. If you are on color guard or winter guard, or if you did it, drop a comment below. I would love to know your experience. What was one thing that you loved about it and one thing you hate? There's a lot to hate, but there's also a lot to love. That's pretty much it. This is my life. And I feel like these videos are going to help me unpack some things that I've put in the box behind my mind. So that's it. Thank you for watching.